welcome to Weeping Willow Homestead and another What We Eat for Dinner for a Week. In these videos, I try to use ingredients that we get from the food pantry combined with inexpensive groceries from Aldi to make well-rounded, nutritious, generally low-carb meals for our family of 7. I have to eat low-carb because of blood sugar issues, and as the sole cook in the house, sometimes it's just easier for me to cook one meal rather than trying to cook multiple dishes for everybody to fit the low-carb me. Sometimes I'll make modifications, though, to make it work, or I'll just make an extra side like I did tonight. Let me show you what I made tonight on Monday. So tonight we have a whole chicken that's pieced up, and this was from the food bank, and it was locally raised. And I just put the chicken in the pan, put it on 375, and baked it for about an hour and a half. I know that sounds like a crazy long time, but it really does make really, really super juicy, super tender, crispy skinned chicken. And I just sprinkled that with some seasoning that I got from the food bank as well, and a little bit of butter on top. We're also having what I call marbled mashed potatoes, which is just a mix of white and sweet potato, about half and half. And I just boil those together and mash them up with some butter and milk. We've got some yellow zucchini and green zucchini from the food bank just today. You'll have seen that video already. And once again, just sauteed it up with some butter. And that's the same seasoning that I put on the chicken. And that's one thing that you can do to kind of make your dishes pair with each other, is to use the same seasoning in more than one dish. And then in the back, we had some tomatoes that we got from the food bank today. I'm not a huge fan of like store-bought tomatoes. They usually don't taste great. If you've ever had a fresh, homegrown, garden-raised tomato, you know what I'm talking about. So I kind of doctored these up a little bit, and since I can't have the mashed potatoes because of carb count, I wanted to make a second dish for at least myself, and I know at least one of my kids will eat this. So I just took some tomatoes and sliced them pretty thick, like at least a half an inch, sprinkled on Parmesan cheese and Italian seasoning, and then I just baked these with the chicken for about 15 minutes. The recipe that I looked up was 400 for 10 minutes, so 375, I just upped it to 15 minutes instead. So yeah, that's everything for dinner for Monday night. We'll see you tomorrow night. Tuesday at our house usually means Taco Tuesday or something Mexican-ish. Tonight I did a taco casserole, I guess you could call it. On the bottom is a bag of plain cauliflower rice that I mostly cooked, mostly enough to just get it hot. And then on top of that is a mixture of taco meat, black beans, some salsa, and obviously taco seasoning. And I mix that all together and heat it up, and then cover the whole thing in mozzarella cheese and baked for a half an hour at 350, 400. Pretty much just at that point is just to heat everything, get the cheese melted, and you probably wouldn't even need to do it for half an hour. I will dip this up into bowls, and we will top it with sour cream. Normally we would also probably put guacamole and salsa con queso on top, but I am out of both of those. And then my family will eat it with tortilla chips. I might have a few tortilla chips, but those go over the carb limit for me most of the time. So I usually just end up eating it as it is, and that's completely fine with me because this stuff is delicious. So that's a nice, fairly easy, fairly quick dinner for a weeknight. All right. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow night. All right, Wednesday night, and I went with an easy meal, which ended up being good that this was on the menu because everybody's sick with a cold, and I'm just tired today. So we'd have keto chicken nuggets, and I've made these before. I'll try to remember to write down the recipe in the description box because they're super easy and super good. Nice little low-carb chicken nuggets. And then I found a bag of the fish sticks still in the freezer. So I made those as well, and I'll just let my kids pick and choose some of both or one or the other. I just made some simple cheesy broccoli. This was a very, very large head of broccoli. I wish I had done more because this turned out delicious. To that, once it was steamed, I added about 2 ounces maybe of cream cheese that I cut up in small pieces. Maybe a half a cup of shredded cheddar cheese, and then a glug, maybe a quarter cup of heavy whipping cream. And the heavy whipping cream was just kind of make it a little bit more creamy, but this turned out so good. I already ate a couple of pieces while I was waiting for everything else to get done. With this, I'm just going to do some pork rinds and chips as the other side. Like I said, I just wanted something quick and easy tonight, and this fit the bill. So, like I said, I was glad this was already on the menu. So that's everything for tonight. We'll see you tomorrow. Thursday night, and we are having sausage and broccoli cheesy soup and biscuits. I was planning on doing ham and broccoli soup, but my ham wasn't thawed out, so I had some smoked sausage in the refrigerator anyway, so I just went ahead and opted for that. There's onions, garlic, cheese, cream cheese, heavy whipping cream. This is not low calorie. If you're looking for low calorie, this is not the meal for you. This is one of our favorites. Just nice and creamy on a cool evening. Luckily, my husband isn't home tonight because he's not a big soup fan, but I kind of tend to time those so that he's not home if we're having soupy soup. He doesn't mind stews, that kind of thing, but yeah. Anywho, and then I made cheesy cheesy, parsley, drop biscuits, and this is with coconut or cashew flour. My brain is not working tonight. And I kind of made these mini. Sorry, hang on just a second. I kind of made these mini because it was getting late and I didn't have dinner started, so I made them smaller so they'd bake a little bit faster. So that's a quick and easy dinner for tonight. We'll see you on Friday. Friday night is pizza night at our house every week. I try to change it up and do sometimes store-bought pizzas, sometimes homemade pizza, sometimes French bread, and then I'll change up whatever I put on the top as well. This time I had some of that bread from the food bank the other day. There were some French or Italian loaves in them, and so I just sliced those long ways and then made French bread pizzas out of them. So there's one pepperoni and one just plain cheese. And I've already dipped up out of that for my kids. Sorry, you missed that part. Seeing them all nice and whole and beautiful. For me, because I eat low carb, can't have pizza, I made what I call pizza chicken. And this is just 2 chicken breasts. And I butterflied them open, or like cut them open to where they were thinner. And then I just baked those until they were done. And then I topped them with pasta sauce, cheese, and pepperoni. And this will be at least 3 meals for me, possibly even 4, although the one chicken breast was pretty small. And then I'm going to have that on top of zoodles just because that sounded really good. And I had some zucchini in the refrigerator that needed eaten. So I just browned these up a little bit, sauteed them in butter. They're maybe a little bit more done than I like, but that's okay. And I will probably just put a little bit of pasta sauce on top of those when I plate it up. And then for the kids for sides, there's green beans. I don't know. I might throw a fruit on the plate too. Might not. Kind of tired and lazy tonight. And then the kids will be having water kefir, which is a probiotic, fizzy, homemade drink. Look into it. It's a really cheap, inexpensive, healthy way of getting probiotics into your kids. They think it's very similar to soda in the fizziness, but without the sugar. I just bought grains online, and then you just reuse them over and over and over and over and over again, so the grains last forever, as long as you don't let them die. And then tonight is dessert night. We eat dessert 1 night a week. And my kids at the food bank the other day, they gave them little stockings, like little mini stockings with candy in them. So they will probably choose a piece or 2 out of that. And then I will straight up say I'm hitting the keto ice cream tonight because ice cream sounds amazing. So that's everything for Friday night. We'll see you tomorrow. It is Saturday night, and Saturday night I always make a big meal. Kind of what most people traditionally make on Saturday or Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening is what I do on Saturday, with the intention that we have leftovers, because I don't cook on Sunday. Sunday we get home late from church. We're usually not home until 1:30, 2 o'clock. Well, anywhere between like 1 and 2, depending on how long we stay and chat. So because of that, when we get home, I pull out all the leftovers and I lay them on the counter and I let my kids pick and choose whatever they want. And we just heat up platefuls of food in the microwave. So I always try to make a bigger meal on Saturday so that we have leftovers for that. And then Sunday for dinner, I pull out a bunch of snacky stuff. So dried fruits, meats, nuts, cheese sticks, popcorn, crackers, just like anything snacky that I happen to have on hand. I pull it out and I lay it on the counter, and once again I let the kids make their plates, and I even bust out paper plates for that. So it's my mom lazy day. I try to honor the Sabbath and rest as much as possible. So yeah. So with that being said, that's why we have a big dinner on Saturday. I intended on cooking chicken leg quarters, and I had pulled them out to thaw, and I was supposed to pull them this morning and go ahead and like thaw them in cold water, and I completely spaced it. And by the time I remembered, it was too late. There was no way they were going to be thawed in time. So I really quickly scrounged around in the freezer, and I found the hams that were in that Christmas bag. And I was like, well, okay, I had like 2.5 hours until dinner. So I went ahead and like water thawed it for like half an hour. So it was still like 90% frozen. And then I just baked it low and slow, like 350 for like 2 hours. And it worked out great. It's cooked all the way through. It was already cooked, so it just had to be heated all the way through, and it did. And then in the pan, I also cooked up some of the little onions that we got from the food bank. And I just let those cook with the ham. In the back, I've got a spaghetti squash casserole. So I just baked the spaghetti squash like normal, shredded it out, did half of it, and then a layer of mozzarella cheese, some herb blend, some Parmesan cheese, and some garlic powder. And then I shredded out the second blend and repeated that. And then I just baked it for probably an hour, maybe 45 minutes. So the cheese is all nice and golden brown on the top, maybe a little too brown, but that's okay with me because burnt cheese is delicious. I decided to try something that I've seen several people online do, which is cooking your green beans, canned green beans in the air fryer. I very rarely get my air fryer out here lately. I don't know why. It's not big enough to feed our entire family, but green beans would fit in there. So I tried it out. I'll have to let you know what we think of them. They don't look any different than just cooking them in the pan. I was kind of in a hurry because it's late. So I didn't cook them as long as maybe I would have liked, because I would have liked maybe like a little bit of color or crispiness to them. So I don't know. We'll see. And then I also made some roasted sweet potatoes, and that's just peeled, diced, and then I sprinkled them with some oil and the same herb seasoning that I used in the spaghetti squash. Which once again, that's a great way of kind of getting a continuity to the flavors of your food, is to use the same seasoning in more than one dish. All right, so that's everything. Like I said, I don't cook on Sundays, so I won't be filming that. So that's the end of this video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll try to make sure to post any relevant links to recipes or anything like that in the description below. And yeah, I hope you have a great week. Goodbye and God bless.